Good morning. It's been a transfer window madness so far, and that train is going to keep rolling as we continue into July. Things picking up all the time, new deals happening all the time, new surprises coming out all the time as well. I'm going to discuss a couple of things that you should be looking out for over the next week. We've got a few things to kick on with, so let's just get on with the video. We'll start with Brighton. Why not? They obviously would like Ajax Calvin Bassey. They've had a look at him, a player they've been keen on for a while. Not as advanced as some reports are making this out to be. For sure, he has been inquired about by Brighton, but at this point, that is all on that front for sure. They're still to establish a price point with Brighton. There have been some reports of around the €20 million mark, but my understanding is Brighton haven't actually been told that yet. They're still waiting to hear the price point that Ajax would like. They obviously like Levi Colwill at Chelsea, but Chelsea do not want to sell Levi Colwill. That has not changed. And of course, he's at the Under-21 Championships with England, where he's featured regularly and starred. So nothing's going to happen until after the final, which England have obviously made it in, and they will play Spain in that. And Chelsea are going to offer him a new deal. They're going to offer a new contract to Colwill, and they see him as a future England regular, never mind a future Chelsea regular. He's a player who's versatile enough to play in midfield as well in their eyes, and they do not want to sell. And the reality of that difficulty is starting to hit Brighton, hence why they're looking at other targets like Bassey. Difficulty for Brighton here is obviously Ajax have just sold a certain Jury and Timber to Arsenal, and their defensive needs are now bigger than they were previously. So unless someone else comes in, it's not got the biggest chance of happening. We shall wait and see. Still early in that one, but certainly one that could benefit Rangers if he's sold for over that €22 million mark, because it's a profit-based sell-on fee Rangers have as well. They could also get a little bump in their finances, which obviously would be good for them, because they've got a few players coming in. One like Jose Cifuentes, who we've spoken about a lot. Rangers fans asking where on earth is he? So personal terms are agreed. The contract talks have been very advanced. It's now discussions over an early exit fee because his contract ends in December this year. That's why Michael Beale referenced that in a press conference recently, where he said December's a long way away when they were asking where he is, which means they can sign him then. We understand the preference would be to have him now at Ibrox, and the preference would be to bring him to Glasgow now so that he can settle in with his teammates and get on with pre-season, learn Beale's systems, etc, etc. Those talks ongoing with LAFC. Maybe we'll hear something on that today. Cyril Dessers was expected yesterday. We're still waiting for his announcement as well. Medical all done. He is signed and sealed for Rangers, the new striker as well. So they're a busy club at this point in time. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think Jose Cifuentes, if Rangers can get this over the line, which obviously it looks like they are, would be an absolutely tremendous signing for Rangers. He's been looked at by Brighton, looked at by Leeds. And I've said it before, if Brighton are looking at a player, you're usually in the right ballpark, right? You're usually looking in the right area for talent. And he certainly would be one of those that would tick that box. So a very, very exciting time for Rangers. Spurs are going to close on Micky van de Ven. They're getting close to him, the Wolfsburg centre-back, heavily looked at by Liverpool. By the way, they had a real keen interest in him, but Spurs now pushing for his signature. They've done a lot of work with Solomon, with Maddison, and the train keeps rolling as well for them. They've got a lot to do for Ange Postecoglou, haven't they? He's got quite a very high-intensity system. Not quite, very high-intensity system. And he needs players who are going to be pressing, putting the energy in, putting the effort in. And they obviously needed new defensive cover, didn't they? They absolutely did. Look out for Todibo here as well, but certainly Van de Ven getting close. With Wolfsburg, discussions ongoing between Wolfsburg and Spurs to get this move done. And Van de Ven has agreed personal terms with Tottenham, so they're in a good position to land what was a Liverpool target, but his counterpart, Lacroix, at centre-back, might be someone that Liverpool look to instead, so keep an eye out on that. Harry Kane, obviously, at Spurs, I mean, club legend, top goal scorer at the club, but will he stay? It's interesting, Spurs have offered him a new deal. We knew that was on the table for a while verbally. It's now officially on the table. But the likelihood at this point in time of Harry Kane signing it, certainly, it's not imminent. It's not something that's happening right now. The project at Bayern Munich is something that is attracting Harry Kane's attention. They're very keen to get something done with Harry Kane. They believe they can get something done with Harry Kane, and they're not stopping their pursuit of his signature. They want to do a deal for around that £80 million mark. We do know that they've floated that to Spurs already, and Spurs said no. Daniel Levy certainly won't sell, and I don't think, for less than £100 million. But of course he runs that risk. he runs that risk, doesn't he, of not selling him now and losing him for free in the next summer. To lose a guy who scored that many goals for you for free, it's interesting. You wonder whether Spurs fans would be happy with that, whether they'd take Harry Kane this season, get his 25, 30 goals and allow him to go for free next season. But the problem is when he becomes free, he starts to attract the attention of Manchester United even more. He starts to attract the attention of other people in the Premier League. And that certainly wouldn't be something Spurs would want, is him going to a rival and affecting their prospects in the Premier League, because that's what will happen. You're talking about an £80 million player being available for free. So certainly something to watch out for. I think as well this will have knock-on effects on Lautaro Martinez if Harry Kane is to leave at Tottenham Hotspur, because that's the perfect player for Ange Postecoglou's system. He's been identified by Levy, identified by Spurs, and identified by Ange Postecoglou. So that could be really interesting if Harry Kane is to leave. Always this domino effect in the transfer market, isn't there? And that would certainly be one. But one player who's having a huge domino effect on everything is a guy called Romeo Lavia. And we've spoken about him so much, haven't we? We've spoken about Lavia a lot. But what is the lay of the land? What is happening with Lavia? Those of you who follow me on my social media or follow Football Insider will know that I've covered this quite a lot recently. And I'll tell you my understanding of the situation and go from there. So let's start with Arsenal. Arsenal have a green light from Lavia that if they come in for an offer, he would like to go there. Obviously, you would have seen Declan Rice signing recently. He would have seen the work Arsenal are doing in this market, how proactive they've been in the players that they have brought in with Timber, with Rice, with Havertz, and how they're pushing. And that's certainly an attractive place to go right now if you're a young talent. Obviously, Southampton looking for around that £50 million mark. Man City have that 45 buyback clause active next year, next summer. And that's the kind of ballpark that we thought it would be, negotiated around. Liverpool very keen on him too. At this point in time, Jurgen Klopp has got this pull. He has got this factor, Jurgen Klopp, which does get deals over the line. I mean, he's got Alexis McAllister, who was wanted by Chelsea and others. He's got Dominic Szoboszlai in there as well, who was also wanted by many others, Newcastle in particular. And could he land Romeo Lavia? Well, that £50 million price point is something that Liverpool are unsure of at this point. They want to go in at around the 35 mark. Now, certainly that suggests that there could be a deal to be done for the 40-45, as I said. And I think that would get a deal across the line for Lavia at this point in time. But you're talking about a teenager who although was absolutely exceptional last season, hasn't had the biggest amount of game time in the Premier League. And when you look at the 55 that was Man United spent on a Mason Mount, for example, who's got vast experience in the Premier League, Champions League, top-level football, that is an argument against Lavia's £50 million price tag for some clubs, and that's certainly what's happening right now. They don't believe it reflects the market value. So we'll wait and see on that one, but Arsenal certainly in a strong position. They obviously need to organise the futures of certain players, like Thomas Partey, for example. They've had a large outlay on Declan Rice, obviously, at £105 million in the centre of the park. Julian Timber, as I said, and Kai Havertz. And Thomas Partey's future is currently unknown, undecided. We'll wait and see on that front. I said this yesterday about Arsenal as well. I'll just remind you, look out for Kieran Tierney towards the end of this week. I think we could be hearing more about his future for sure. And it's interesting, Chelsea's still in the Lavia race as well. They are looking at him from a distance. They've done a lot of groundwork on Lavia early, end of April, beginning of June. Did a lot of work on Lavia. Is a player that they do like, is a player I can still see them going for. I do not believe they're out of the Lavia race whatsoever. And it's certainly one that they could move on, especially if Liverpool dither, if Arsenal still haven't gone and Chelsea see the opportunity to go. The Caicedo talks obviously currently ongoing. And Manchester United have had a look from a distance as well. Could they move in on Romeo Lavia before the end of the window? I think, to be honest, at this point in time, it looks unlikely, but it's been a mad window so far. There's been many a surprise. More to come, especially from Saudi. Keep an eye out on that. These guys mean business. They've only just started. They've got a £20 billion budget allocated to them, and they're more attractive to some players than maybe people realise. I think a few surprise names could make the move to Saudi Arabia this summer. We're not just talking about guys coming to the end of their career here, but maybe some guys who are world stars, world-renowned, top-level footballers who maybe are at their peak or coming to their peak, perhaps, as well. So, really interesting times ahead. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Where should Harry Kane go? Should he stay at Spurs? Should Spurs sell him? What's your thoughts on that? Where do you think Lavia is going to end up? Anything else you'd like us to look at, check out, put it in the comments below, and we'll have do our best to have a look at that. But it's certainly fast and it's furious and it's not slowing down. We're starting now to get into the busy days of the transfer window. So make sure you stick with us, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out, and put something in the comments below to let us know your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.